What is going on, my peeps? Your boy Vrsatile is back after hours, back with episode 7. Yes, we are 7 episodes into the visual and audio podcast. The audio podcast, of course, where you can catch on most platforms that include Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Breaker, Radio Public, and so much more. Go ahead, if you haven't already, subscribed and or added me to your podcast list there. And of course, the visuals you catch right here on YouTube. And let's get into it. Channel updates. I kind of previewed this on Twitter, but I do have the Samsung Galaxy S Tab. Oh my goodness. The Galaxy Tab S5e in-house. I've had it for a couple weeks. Thoroughly kind of using it, checking it out, paying attention to it. And one of the things that I find immediately amazing about this tablet is I have not had to charge this thing in like 5 days or so. If I go in here and quickly check the settings, I'm going to show you guys. This is just one thing that I want to show you guys before I'm out, and I have to find where it's at. All right, device care. Go on the battery. There's 12% left, and I have not had to put this on the charger in over 10 days. So it's been 10 days on this battery life, and I got 12% left, and I've been running over 6 hours worth of YouTube. It's been idle most of the time, 6.5 hours screen on time, just chilling. So if you guys are ready to see some content on the Tab S5e, best believe I'll start dropping content on it soon. What else? Big bag right here. Galaxy S20 Plus content coming you guys way soon. This is really just one video. That'll drop probably tomorrow, or in other words, Sunday, because this drops every Saturday. Now, in regards to anything else on the channel, aside from me drinking this orange juice right now, I have to apologize for a couple things. One, the audio in the last couple videos. Now, I found a way, or a workaround, you could say, to at least improve the audio some. The reason why the audio wasn't so good in my last couple videos was because I tried to use my lav mic with the Pixel 3a XL. The overhead videos I do, I haven't quite found a way to kind of maintain good audio, because I can't really use this that well because it's not like directly in front of me. And so one of the videos I did when I did this, the audio was barely hearable. So I might try this again, but it's been a work in progress. Now, oddly enough, using the mic jack on the Pixel 3a XL has no like filter or anything on it. So when I plugged my lav mic in and went to using it, everything was completely clipped and just static crazy. So that didn't work. And then if I use the USB-C dongle with the headphone jack, that acts as a filter using the USB-C port when I use the lav mic on the Pixel 3 XL or the Pixel 4. And then my audio sounds a whole lot better. So for the next few overhead videos that I'll be doing, I think I'll do it that way unless this works. So I do want to apologize for those videos and apologize in advance if my next few overhead videos audio is slightly not consistent like this usually is on my talking head videos. So now we got the channel updates out the way. Let's talk about the PS5. Yes, that will be the subject of this, the main subject, or the first subject we talk about on this episode. Of course, we will catch Star Wars content later about episode 2 of season 7 of Star Wars Clone Wars. But we're going to talk about the PS5. And wow, we could really just talk about Sony, period. Sony has pulled out of virtually everything within the realm of MWC's canceled, but GDC and PAX East. Side note, Microsoft likewise has pulled out of GDC. And I actually have a list of companies: EA, Kojima, Amazon, Activision, Blizzard, Sony, Facebook, and Oculus Gaming have all pulled out of GDC. So it's surprising that they're still going to be trying to carry on with the GDC, or the Game Developers Conference. Usually with any event that's big like that, and it's a hands-on event, which is virtually every gaming experience or gaming event, you're going to get sick regardless. But they want to at least lessen the scare of the coronavirus being one of those sicknesses. People get sick all the time at those events leaving because of how much hands-on it is. Everybody coming from everywhere, touching controllers and merchandise, so on and so forth, not being sterilized or wiped down as well. So people inevitably kind of catch people's germs and get sick. So if they can at least limit that away from the coronavirus, which is just sweeping everywhere right now. I think there's been up to like 57 cases in the U.S. or whatever, and China's probably underreporting how much is just going on over there. The coronavirus seems like it's pretty serious because stocks are dropping. So it's crazy how much the coronavirus is affecting everything. And so like for PS5 or for PlayStation, we've seen a ton of delays already for games. But one of the things that we might see happen as a result of the coronavirus is that the PlayStation 5 may get delayed, or some of the first release or first launch games might get delayed, which is kind of not fun to think about, considering you're going to have a brand new system and you can't really utilize it as to the degree you really want to. Now, of course, with backwards compatibility, you will, but in terms of having that PS5-like content, you won't get to utilize it like that because there's a possibility that the coronavirus will push off a lot of stuff even towards the end of the year into 2021. And that's kind of like a frightening thing to think about because, again, that's like everything, right? Like games, businesses, like everything's kind of like in this wonky position right now. And so no doubt, if Sony's been quiet thus far, they almost have like a solid excuse to be even more quiet about the PlayStation 5, which kind of leads me into my next thing. And as strong as I have been on Sony releasing something in regards to the PlayStation 5 this month in February, which today or Saturday will be the 29th. Less than after I drop this video, they do give us finally some actual tidbits themselves about the PlayStation 5 or the dates for the PlayStation 5 event. The coronavirus has basically shut everything I wanted to, my predictions down, because Sony ain't done nothing for us for for February. Now, March, they probably will, of course. They inevitably will have to in March. Sorry about that. They probably will in March. And I really hope it's a PlayStation X or PSX event. But we'll definitely see. One of the things that basically more or less have been confirmed by GameStop is some additional specs for the PS5. And if I can find that image here, I'll just use my phone for that because I already had that relatively pulled up here. So GameStop, we got to see full 8K TV support, bespoke 8-core AMD chipset, 3D audio, built-for-purpose SSD storage, backwards compatibility with PS4 games and PS5 hardware, and ray tracing capabilities. So some of that stuff we already knew. It's interesting the way they worded the SSD storage as built for purpose. So I don't know if that's supposed to like enhance or make us feel any better about the SSDs that would be used within the PS5. And the one thing that is like bittersweet as of right now is the fact that backwards compatibility has been confirmed for PS4, which is a great thing, and PSVR. But we don't know if backwards compatibility will stop at PS4 in terms of hardware, like disc-based games. Now, maybe software-wise, we'll be able to play old games, which you basically kind of can through PS Now. And some of them have like re-released as PS4, like PSN games. So it will be interesting to see how far that goes, because when we talk about Microsoft in a bit, that's one thing that will kind of give Microsoft the upper hand on Sony in terms of the backwards compatibility department. So that's bittersweet there, but at least it's good news that we will be able to play our current games. And with the forecast looking like games gonna be kind of taking a break here for next gen because of sicknesses and whatnot. At least that's good news that if we do invest the money, which will probably be around $500, into next gen, the new console, we can at least throw our new discs in there, and most likely they'll take advantage of this new tech, the next gen tech, within the PS5 and Xbox Series X. So that's good. Now, one of the other things I wanted to show you guys, if I can bring this article back up here. One thing I don't like about Google Keep on tablets, or at least on this tablet, is that it keeps defaulting back to my general notes, even though I'm in my tech tab. So as soon as I click on a note, like it defaults back in the back scene, and I have to kind of like redoodle around to find my stuff. But one of the things is I thought I had it here. I guess I don't. Oh, I really don't. It's the PS5 controller, the DualShock 5. Yes, the DualShock 5 controller is about to be, breaking news. GDC 2020 is officially postponed following coronavirus concerns. So before I get into the PS5, let me look at this. This is from Android Central, and that's where I was going to get my PS5 controller information. Yeah, they announced it was postponing the event, which takes place in San Francisco in March. Multiple large companies have pulled out, as I mentioned before. Oh, and Epic Games likewise has pulled out. And then another GDC event will be held in summer. So it appears that they might be postponing this to the summer, considering how many big name companies and developers have pulled out. And it's very understandable, and hopefully they refund people's monies, whoever bought like their way into it, because this is crazy, yo. Like, word? Yeah, It makes sense from the standpoint of there's not going to be a lot of attraction to GDC due to nobody essentially being there. You got two big dogs not being there in Microsoft and Sony, and then all the subsequent developers that work with them, like EA, like Activision, like Epic, right? Kojima, they all not going to be there either. So it's like, scratch it. It's a wrap, at least until the summertime. Now, back to the PS5 controller. Let me see if I can find this here. Side note, the Samsung Galaxy Tab S6 Lite reveals an affordable Android tablet with an S Pen, which is going to be interesting considering I was just mentioning the Tab S5e and why that it's funny that it doesn't have an S Pen support. And so I know it's a new year, so technically, like, okay, they could release basically a new mid-range tablet, but the naming structure is baffling. Like, I can't wait to kind of talk about that with the Tab S5e because I have some thoughts on that. So I'm not going to go too much further into that, but that's my immediate thoughts there. The PS5 controller, or Sony, has basically submitted some patents talking about the controller having some type of biofeedback in terms of sweat and or heart rate. Now, sweat part, I don't really care about as much, but the heart rate part is actually pretty dope because think about the various ways that developers can actually utilize that kind of hardware for their games. Now, the first one that might pop up is, or like, think about like scary, thrilling, suspenseful games. They could throw more jump scares at you. They could, ramp up the action in terms of like scary moments within those games. They could also utilize being able to display your heart rate that if not you can see, your audience can see if you're live streaming. Brian Altano talked about that on the IGN's Beyond podcast, which is actually very dope because think about that from that perspective. If you're watching your favorite like streamer, whether it's on YouTube or Twitch or Mixer or wherever, think about like they're streaming some scary game or whatever, or trying to beat a boss, and you see the heart rate pop up and you see their heart rate kind of going crazy or just spike when something tremendous happens. So imagine that when you're playing the game and you can basically affect how you play the game just with your heart rate. And other ways you can utilize that, sports games, right? Especially down to the wire, maybe at the end of the clock, each quarter or something like that. You're down a couple points, it's tied, it's overtime or whatever, and you can utilize the heart rate to ramp up the feedback in the controller and or maybe shake the screen according to your heart rate. That adds more pressure, that adds more to the experience of playing that game. Like, that's actually pretty dope. So if this is true, that Sony's actually going to do this with PS5 and the PS5 controller, that's going to be pretty dope. Now, will we see this right out the gate? Probably not. Will the tech probably be in the controller? Very possible. Will it lay dormant for like a year or so before they decide to activate it via software update? Probably. But it's going to not be a gimmick for specific use cases like the thriller or horror-based genre and for like sports games. Now, other games, I can't quite think of what your heart rate could be used for, let alone sweat. Like, that's interesting. But nonetheless, like, I don't have clammy hands, so sweat won't really be much of a problem for me anyway, because I also kind of take my hands off the controller from time to time, kind of move my wrists around. So sweat, I'm not as worried about or bothered by. Not a big deal. But that's the PS5 news that I wanted to share with you guys, and the picture of that You know, I know I've probably been put that up there, but oh well. That actually wasn't what I was going to show you. The patent I was going to show you is for like a wireless charging attachment. So it looks kind of similar to the back button attachment for the PS4 controller, except that this will incorporate wireless charging. It will, of course, have the headphone jack, and it looks to connect to the PS5 controller as opposed to the PS4. So that would be great that it's introducing wireless charging, and I believe it's going to have USB-C based charging as well. So I'm glad to see Sony kind of stepping up in those little ways, because in the world of tech now, where a lot of things have went USB-C, most of us are going to have USB cables laying around, and if we can charge our controllers that way, then it adds to the convenience of living. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to have a micro USB or something else. Couldn't even think of nothing right now. Lightning, like you got USB-C, and you on your way. Now. What other gaming news I said we was going to get into? Microsoft. So, as we mentioned, Microsoft's not going to GDC, and that's been postponed. But the Series X has dropped some more details on what their system is going to entail, and that is smart delivery being one of the biggest features that we kind of want to talk about. But before we do, let's open this article if it stops acting up. It's going to have 12 teraflops. I don't even know what teraflops mean. I just know it's probably a lot of power, a lot of computing power. Or that's the GPU, in other words, that will help with the graphical control, graphical processing for the games. Variable rate shading, hardware accelerated DirectX ray tracing. Wow. Quick resume for multiple games and smart delivery. Now, the quick resume for multiple games is dope because, like, on PlayStation, you can at least suspend one game and you can, like, go and, like, do other media-based stuff but not game-based stuff. And so with quick resume for multiple games, that means you can most likely suspend more than one game or switch between 2 to 3 games or whatever and not have to worry about closing a game. That is going to be exciting because sometimes I want to put a disc in just to like kind of log into a game real quick, not get too much gaming in, but then focus back on the game I was primarily playing or previously playing. And so if I could switch between those games and not have to worry about closing stuff down and restarting, I'm all for that. I am all for that. Now, smart delivery. That's what I wanted to get to. Smart delivery for Xbox is basically what they're allowing. It's basically like nearly free upgrades to the next gen like style of gaming. So like games, you'll get like a free update patch, or like I don't think you'll get a free hardware disc base. Like if you went to GameStop wherever and traded your game back in for the PS5 or the Xbox Series X version. I don't know about that. But in terms of smart delivery, you're essentially being able to play the new, you'll get the new stuff for essentially free. And Xbox is allowing you to play like all of their Xbox games. So from Xbox, the first generation Xbox, all the way up to Xbox Series X, you'll have that capability through smart delivery and whatnot. So that's like Microsoft's backwards compatibility mode for the Series X. And that's why that takes that so far up the food chain. It could I wouldn't say like it would heavily, but I would say it could kind of threaten Sony's dominance, because if the PS5 is lacking that kind of capabilities, it does kind of make you disappointed or sad that Sony will not allow you to play their large library of previous PlayStation games. Because one of the series I still want to play is Beautiful Joe. Now, I know we saw the Wonderful 101, which looks very Beautiful Joe-ish, kind of announced or teased, what was that, on February 26th? So that's a feature that Xbox is bringing to the table that is going to definitely revolutionize their gaming and kind of bring them back into the fold of competition, because the PS4 destroyed them last gen, or this current gen. Now, what else have we got going on here? Oh, Activision subpoenas Reddit over Warzone leaks. So one of their games got leaked, and they think it was probably somebody in-house, but Reddit, I guess, doesn't have to give up their user base or whoever that user was, because, of course, you could probably lose your job if you got caught leaking stuff you probably shouldn't have been. So that's interesting news. Jedi Fallen Order has basically been confirmed by Kotaku EA Motive is said to also be working on a Star Wars game. Now, it sounds like Jedi Fallen Order 2 is going to be like an unusual game, and I think they said a shorter game. So that's going to be interesting as to what that exactly is. Spoiler alert, if you play Fallen Order and you play to the end, you know that Darth Vader enters the picture. So they could very well kind of continue on that in terms of Darth Vader, like hunting whoever you are, whether that is Cal or another Jedi. He could be hunting you down, to try to stop you from, basically overthrowing or taking down his empire. So that's interesting because we're starting to get good Star Wars content like The Mandalorian, like Jedi Fallen Order. Battlefront 2 is in a good space. You know what I'm saying? We just got Project Luminous announced, or Star Wars The High Republic, which is like right now 5 books, multiple different authors or whatever, or writers coming together to like create this new era for Star Wars. And I wouldn't necessarily say create, but now we get to see some more stuff in terms of like canon and all that. So Star Wars is in a great space, and it's nice to see video games likewise follow that trend of just good games. And woo, it makes me excited because next gen, that's where that will be at. And Spider-Man 2 will also be there, and God of War 2 probably be there, even though I haven't played the first one yet. I got it, just waiting, you know what I'm saying? But that wraps up the gaming, and so fittingly because gaming's about to be on point. Now, tech news. My pre-order for the Galaxy S20 will be here next week. T-Mobile yanked that money out the bank account. So I really sound like I was from Minnesota right there. So you guys will see content on the Galaxy S20 probably towards the end of next week, if not the following week. Of course, I showed you that big bag full of S20 Plus cases. I have an S20 Plus dummy unit in there that I'll kind of show off, and I'm glad I got the smaller one because I'm just kind of done with big phones. Outside of like the Note, I'll still be interested in that Note 10 Plus because I still don't think Samsung's releasing another Note right now, or a Note 20. I'm only interested in that because of the S Pen. So, but yeah, you guys will see content for the S20 down the road. I've gotten a little more excited. I'm really much more excited for the Galaxy Buds Plus. And upon checking Samsung's website today, the red color is available, but it's like available or it's coming soon. So it is on their website. So if you haven't already ordered some, or you want to order another pair and you wanted those red ones, it's a good move from Samsung to kind of show those off early. So if you do plan on buying some, you can. Like my Galaxy Buds Plus are coming free with my purchase, and most likely they're going to be the Cloud Blue because I got the Cloud Blue Galaxy S20. But it would be so beautiful if they threw in the red ones instead. Like, what a surprise that would be. I would love that. So that's coming down the pipeline within the next couple weeks. Essential Phone will taste Android 11 via the Developer Preview 1, but it will not get the official release of Android 11, and it's unfortunate. But it's also, again, amazing to see Andy Ruman and his team support the Essential Phone so much. And that's something I think Google can learn from, because in terms of the Android side, companies are real quick to kind of drop their phones after about 3 years, 4 years, if you include like security updates. And so with Google, although they say a minimum of 3 years, typically you kind of see it go down after 4, as we saw with the OG Pixel. And I think that with the lifespan that the Essential Phone had, I really would love to see Google take note of that and excel in carrying and supporting their Pixel devices. That'll be cool. Now, speaking of Pixel, we have the Pixel drop for March coming through soon here, and I thought I had that in here, but I don't. So what I'm gonna do is go find that again. The Pixel drop could include dark mode scheduling. So 9to5 Google's APK teardown is what kind of found these drop features, and it'll include dark mode scheduling. So that's kind of like a feature that's going to be through like the Android 11. That could actually be coming in the next drop. And of course, that means you can schedule when you want dark mode to actually cut on your device. Cards and passes, so you basically able to access Google Pay a lot faster by holding the power button, which is cool because I like on an iPhone you can double tap it to bring up your Apple Pay cards and stuff like that. So with Google, it's nice to see you can hold the power button, bring up Google Pay that way, which means I can take that app off my home screen now and put something else there. Play and pause motion sense gesture. So basically, like you hold your hand over the phone to pause it, and you hold over again to play or resume. So that's going to be nice, and then it's nice to see Google take serious their project solely and see it in action, getting feature update, and maybe that kind of updates and kind of fine tweaks the ability to swipe through, your music or whatever as well. That's going to be nice. And car crash detection. So, Google will now call the emergency services if it detects you've been in a car crash. So those are features that are said to be dropping alongside the March security update patch for March, and that's next week. So typically, I think they try to update around Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday. So if we don't get it next week, it's probably gonna be the following Tuesday for at least the March security update patch. Now, if they come separately, just know it's gonna be sometime in March. So that's pretty dope to see. I'm excited because I like this Pixel 4, man. This Pixel 4 is something else. All right, so what do we got next on the list here? What do we got next? Ooh, what do we got? Okay, really? Okay, are we done? Lord have mercy. All right, so, Bob Iger steps down immediately, and Bob Chapek takes over as CEO for Disney. So that was like an abrupt move that I don't think too many people saw coming. Disney stock dropped like 2% that day when it took place. That was a couple of days ago. But Bob Iger will still be on the creative side of the business, probably helping try to secure deals and stuff like that. He's excited about Disney Plus and acquiring assets such as like Fox. So it sounds like that's what he's really going to be interested in. All the other day-to-day stuff he's passing on to the younger guy or slightly younger guy. Bob's like almost 70, I think. I think the new guy's like in his 40s or 50s. He's been with Disney for like 27 years, which is just as long as Bob Iger. So that's pretty interesting to see. Hopefully it doesn't really change much of what we've been seeing going on. If not, things like improve. That's dope. Moving into Disney, basically, Marvel news. Reported by Everything Always on YouTube. I guess a source had kind of said or leaked that Henry Cavill may be playing Sphinx Wolverine. Henry Cavill, Wolverine. Can you imagine Henry Cavill, big old swole Superman, coming over to the Marvel side and taking off what Hugh Jackman left? And what? Wolverine? Now, of course, it's a leak, and we don't know if it's 100% true. And I guess along with the leak, it's suggested or alleged that he might be in Captain Marvel 2 along with Rogue, who also may have the same actress reprise her role as she did in the original Fox version of the X-Men, which would be dope if that's the case. Now, she's supposedly supposed to be like a villain at first. Now, this is all leaks, of course, or rumors, but it sounds like it's credible. It's also kind of confusing that they would put Wolverine in there. Now, I think Wolverine could show up as an end credit scene. That's what I think might happen for Wolverine and Captain Marvel 2. Now, if Rogue is in it, it would kind of make sense, I think, because I believe they kind of have some history in the comics together. So, if that's the case, I can see Wolverine being in the post-credit scene for Captain Marvel 2 if that's the case. That's going to be cool, which means it's starting to add some levity to Captain Marvel and what she could actually be or for Marvel, the MCU as a whole. Because it seems like she's going to be the entrance for a lot of stuff along with Doctor Strange too. So that's going to be amazing. What else we got going on? Reshoots have taken place for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's commonplace for that to take place from time to time. Like it happened with Endgame. There was a couple reshoots or whatever. So nothing scary. I believe it's still projected to come out in August. And I'm just as excited for that. I'm ready to see Anthony Mackie reprise his role as Sam Wilson, you know what I'm saying, and Bucky Barnes coming through as Winter Soldier. I'm ready to see what that looks like. It's supposed to be about 6 episodes, and I think they're all going to be like heavy content-wise in terms of like, I think they're going to be like an hour to hour and a half long, but it's going to build up some story there so that way they can just kind of run out the gate, I should say, when movies start releasing again, when it's that time. Now, to Clone Wars 2. or Clone Wars Season 7, Episode 2. Woo! Was it good? Now, it was about, again, Rex's notion that Echo is still alive. He's bothered by it. He's troubled by it. His emotions are getting to him. And Anakin had the audacity, after sneaking off, to take this, what I heard was a clandestine or basically some hidden call with Padme, who also looked pregnant in her hologram, like the start of being pregnant. I don't think Anakin knows yet. Side note, I actually don't know. Well, I'll get to that. Never mind. So, Anakin had the audacity to tell Padme or suggest to Padme that he's worried about Rex, being led by his feelings about about Echo. Yet, everything Anakin has basically been doing up until this point, and why Padme is pregnant, is because of Anakin's feelings. So, that was interesting. She kind of pointed that out, kind of set him straight a little bit in jest. And then while he's doing that, Rex is on the lookout, trying to keep it hidden. Obi-Wan's looking for Anakin, suspects something's going on where Anakin's taking the call, but Obi-Wan's also not dumb and knows basically that Anakin was talking to Padme. Now, this is where things kind of get interesting for me, because does Obi-Wan know that there's feelings involved between the two? Like, I know he knows that they stay in contact probably, and he runs off like a little boy. Oh my god, hey, how you doing? Oh my god, I know. Like, I know Obi's not dumb, so does he know that maybe Anakin might be troubled with his feelings in terms of having attachment to Padme? Does Obi know that, you know what I'm saying? Like, does Obi know that much? That's what I want to know. Because we know in episode 3 how Padme's so guarded and so defensive and protective of Anakin, he basically correctly assumes or guesses that Anakin is the father to pregnant Padme. So, based off seeing that in episode 3, and then here in Clone Wars, seeing Obi-Wan kind of know who Anakin's been dealing with on the side, does it bother Obi-Wan? Does he know for it to bother him? I guess is what I'm trying to say. So that's going to be interesting to see that build up over the course of the next, 10 more episodes? I think it's like a 12 episode season. So that's interesting. So now to carry on through the episode, they are going to this planet called Skako, where Tech, one of the Bad Batch members of the 99 Force, has been able to catch this transmission that Rex and them heard from Echo. So they take the Bad Batch with Anakin on out to Skako, planet filled with like flying reptiles and these people called I have it written down here. These people called the Politex. They're an indigenous people and they worship these flying reptiles basically. And they have a cool sounding like dialect, a language. It sounds so echoey. It's like it's something like that. It's pretty dope. But they snatch up Anakin, fly off, and then the Bad Batch tries to kind of follow along. Hunter, cool dude, kind of like attaches himself to one of the reptilians and kind of falls off to kind of scout where they land and stuff like that. They get to Anakin, kind of save him, but then let the people know, after being able to do some translation, that they're not there for them. They're not trying to fight them. They just want Anakin and Echo. So they get led off to this city within Skako Minor called the Perkole. But as they are, Admiral Trench, the little spider arachnid looking guy, Admiral Trench communicates to Wat Tambor, who was the one who inevitably who's been transmitting the signal. He warns them that Anakin and them are there. So as Anakin and them are trying to get up through the city to see if Echo is really there to catch this transmission signal, they fight the Techno Union, as you were, all these droids that are led by Wat Tambor, and Anakin finally gets his first glimpse at what the Bad Batch can do, and they wreak havoc on these droids, and then they wreak havoc on some more droids as they approach this room where the signal is coming from, in which when they open it, they find out there's a life form in this like tube, and out falls Echo, who is hooked up Palpatine style from episode 9 to this machine that's basically been transmitting the signal from like his brain. It was almost like his thoughts that was being transmitted. But he's literally like hooked up like Palpatine was in episode 9. And then, Rex assures him and comforts him and is like, hey man, you're going home, man. We found you, we saved you. And then the episode ends. So it was pretty intense. I forget how like short the episodes are. You're so used to watching like 30, 40-minute episodes, but Clone Wars is only like 20 minutes. And so like they're compacting all this good content into 20 minutes, and it's like keeping up. And they're about to tell the story of that, Darth Maul and Ahsoka fighting each other, basically watching Maul's rise and fall with the Mandalore people. You're going to see that. You're going to see whatever else troubles and conflicts Anakin, all in 12 episodes and really 10 more episodes. So it's nice to see like how they're pacing this and how it's going. So overall, great episode. I would have loved to be able to binge this for sure. I almost feel like this could have been like a binge-worthy season, and then leave The Mandalorian and like live action to more, weekly based episodes. But as it is, like, it just gives us some content to talk about over the course of the next basically 3 months. And that's it for this video. Hope you guys appreciate and enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys thought about, what have been talked about. If you guys got any predictions, you guys want to write the timestamps down below. I should have said that in the beginning, but whoever decides they want to do the timestamps, I'll pin your comment in the comment section. So maybe I'll kind of snippet this and post it in the beginning too, or something, or I'll maybe write up a little title for you guys to see or read in the beginning. But yeah, great episode. Great another episode. Hope you guys appreciate and enjoyed it. Your boy Vrsatile is signing out. And until the next video, we're officially closed.